Welcome, everyone. Today, we're talking about a concept that may sound harsh, but is actually a refined art, the dark and cunning tactics for controlling people. Now, when we say dark tactics, we're talking about having a thick skin and using strategies that may seem ruthless. This doesn't mean becoming a bad person. No, it means becoming a good person with strategy. A good person who also has money, not just a good heart. The art of managing people with darkness is a powerful weapon you must master whether you want to succeed in business, make more money, or rise higher in your career. What I'm about to share isn't easy to digest, so listen until the end if you want to truly understand this ancient wisdom. You see, the heart of Buddhism is compassion. We've all heard of Guanyin Bodhisattva, the great savior of those in suffering and danger. In ancient times, Guanyin was said to take on many forms to save people from calamities. And not all of those forms were the gentle, graceful bodhisattva we usually imagine. In fact, when you visit some temples, you'll notice that certain statues of Buddhas and bodhisattvas look fierce, even intimidating. Why? Because even a bodhisattva sometimes needs to use devilish methods. And why is that? The answer is simple. This real world is dangerous. A bodhisattva cannot rely solely on compassion to guide and transform people. Sometimes strong, even fearsome measures are necessary to truly save someone. With good people, the teachings of the Dharma can be enough. But with those who are deeply corrupt, kindness alone may be useless. In such cases, the bodhisattva might first subdue them with strength, and only then slowly guide them toward goodness. And for those who are beyond redemption, there is only one way left, sending them to the underworld. Yes, even a bodhisattva can wield devilish means in order to save lives. So, for us ordinary people, using a bit of that natural instinct for self-protection is not only acceptable, it's often essential. Whether or not you believe in the stories of Guanyin, one truth remains. Compassion alone is not enough. Compassion must be paired with strength. Remember the story of how the Buddha subdued Sun Wukong, the Monkey King? You troublesome monkey, if you behave, will speak kindly. If you don't, I will punish you. That is the bodhisattva's devilish method, true compassion, tied together with firm tactics. There's a saying, only a person with the heart of a bodhisattva and the tactics of a devil can achieve great things. To truly change the world, or at least your own destiny, you must master both. You need a heart filled with compassion, but also a mind unafraid to use strategy, even ruthless strategy, when necessary. This is the secret art, the ultimate world-saving formula. Now, I won't lie to you. The lessons of the dark tactics school are bitter, even brutal. Ordinary people will find them hard to accept. But masters, the truly shrewd ones, they won't just accept them, they'll secretly love them. They'll use them as weapons to climb to the very top of the food chain. Today, I'll help you understand the core of this knowledge. The term dark tactics means this: a thick skin and shadowy strategies. And no, it does not mean becoming a bad person. It means becoming a good person who knows how to use strategy. A good person who also has money, not just good intentions. The art of controlling people with dark tactics is a ruthless weapon you must master. Whether you want to succeed in business, make money, or climb the ladder of power. Learn cunning from Cao Cao. Learn shamelessness from Liu Bang. Among the heroes of the three kingdoms, Cao Cao stands first when it comes to ruthless strategy. In the face of personal gain, he would never let emotions interfere. Liu Bu once saved his life. Cao Cao still had him killed without blinking. Hua Tuo, the legendary physician, and Kong Rong, famed for his virtue, both were eliminated without mercy. He even declared openly, "I would rather betray the world than let the world betray me." That is ruthless strategy at its peak. Then there's Liu Bang, the master of thick skin. His weapon was crying. When faced with an impossible situation, he would weep to gain sympathy. He would sell his suffering, endure humiliation, and wait for the right moment. Once, Sun Quan, blinded by kindness, not only lent Liu Bang the territory of Jingzhou, but even married his sister to him. But Liu Bang was a master actor. Once he had what he wanted, he showed his true, ruthless nature, never returning Jingzhou, never honoring his promises. Where was the virtue in that? If you want to achieve great things, you must be as decisive and merciless as Cao Cao, and as thick-skinned and enduring as Liu Bang. One final warning. Those who leave you with a perfect first impression, be extremely cautious of them. Why? Because no human is flawless. A perfect appearance often means it's an act, a mask. Even in spy movies, the person who makes the best impression on the boss is usually the one sent to betray him. In this world, there are three types of people: the saints, the petty villains, and the hypocrites. Saints are rare. Petty villains are easy to spot. But the most dangerous of all are the hypocrites. Why? Because saints are consistent, they mostly do good. Petty villains are also consistent, they mostly do bad. But hypocrites, they're unpredictable. Sometimes they do good, sometimes they do bad. And that makes them deadly. The way a hypocrite works is this. For small matters, they act good. For big matters, they act bad. They'll start by doing good, but end by doing harm. And you can't prepare for it. For a long time, everything seems fine. You work together, you trust each other, until the very end, when they suddenly reveal their true face. And when they strike, it's often so devastating that you won't even have a chance to recover. That's why, when dealing with anyone, you must learn to divide big benefits into smaller portions. Let the other person return a part of what they owe you early. Don't wait until the very end to demand the full payment. Because here's the truth. People change according to the size of the benefit. When the stakes get too high, everything becomes uncertain. It's like lending money. If you lend someone 3 million, they'll likely pay it back on time. But if you lend them 300 million, suddenly, it's a different story. They might start thinking, is this amount worth cutting ties completely? Never allow the amount at stake to grow so large that a hypocrite can wipe you out in one single move. You must master dark tactics to subdue others and also be able to recognize when others are using dark tactics on you. Have a thick skin and a sharp hand, but keep a good heart. Remember, Buddha and the devil are only separated by a single thought. If you use these strategies to harm others, heaven will destroy you silently, without a trace. True masters of dark tactics operate completely against conventional logic, making it impossible for others to detect them. If you can easily see through someone's strategy, it means it's just a trick, not true skill. Real mastery is when no one can tell. That's why you must learn to think in reverse. When everyone else is drunk, you are sober. When everyone else is dark, you pretend to be light. And always, when using dark tactics, cover them with a layer of righteousness. Never show them openly. Dress them up with a noble name. For example, when Cao Cao attacked someone, he didn't say, "I'm here to hurt you." No, he would wrap it in a reason that sounded grand and justified. That's how masters work. Today, we dive into another layer of power, the art of using symbols, narratives, and calculated ruthlessness to win over the world. In history, Cao Cao held the emperor in his grasp to command the feudal lords. Liu Bei didn't have that luxury. He had no emperor to intimidate others with. So instead, he raised a great banner, descendant of the great Han, here to restore the Han dynasty. Long ago, the outlaws of Liangshan also flew a banner of righteousness, acting on heaven's behalf, punishing evil and upholding justice. But in the end, Song Jiang's real intention emerged to surrender to the court, gaining both fame and fortune for himself, while the heroes of Liangshan died one by one, forgotten and wasted. That's why before you act, you must have a slogan and a mission. In modern terms, culture and values. Only then can you capture the hearts of the people and turn actions that may have nothing to do with morality into something that appears righteous and legitimate. In public, you must show a broad, generous heart. But when the time comes to strike in the shadows, you do not hesitate. This is great wisdom, disguised as foolishness, the art of playing the pig to eat the tiger. And Liu Bang was a master of it. Even Xiang Yu, a man of heroic spirit, was powerless against Liu Bang's unconventional methods. Liu Bang could bend or straighten as needed. When it was time to yield, he would yield. When it was time to strike, he would strike without hesitation. Xiang Yu, in contrast, had the appearance of a hero but was too merciful. He lacked the thick skin and dark hand required to dominate. Take the famous Hongmen banquet. It should have been the perfect opportunity to kill Liu Bang. Instead, Xiang Yu softened, letting him go a fatal mistake. Liu Bang, however, was entirely different. When Xiang Yu captured Liu Bang's father and threatened to boil him alive, Liu Bang replied calmly, "We are sworn brothers. If you do boil the old man, remember to give me a bowl of the soup." Such a heart, so utterly unbound by conventional morality, is not ordinary. Liu Bang's thick skin and ruthless hand were also seen in the story of Ding Gong, a general under Xiang Yu. Ding Gong was ordered to hunt down Liu Bang. When he captured him, Liu Bang begged for mercy, promising great rewards in return. Ding Gong's heart softened. He released Liu Bang and lied to Xiang Yu, saying he could not catch him. Later, when Liu Bang defeated Xiang Yu, Ding Gong came to him, expecting a promotion for his earlier kindness. But instead, Liu Bang had him bound and dragged into camp. Then he said to his men, Ding Gong was Xiang Yu's minister, yet he was not loyal to Xiang Yu. Wasn't it because of him that Xiang Yu lost the empire? And with that, Liu Bang had Ding Gong executed. He then declared publicly, anyone who is not loyal to their master will meet the same fate. That, my friends, is how a man can win the world not just with force, but with the ability to cloak strategy under noble words, and to strike without hesitation when the time comes. Those who can accomplish great things often share one trait, a high level of aggression. But here's the key. They don't show it openly in front of ordinary people. Why? Because there's no significant benefit in doing so. That's why you must hide your claws even deeper than usual. Smile gently, but when the moment comes, strike with a decisive blow. In normal times, speak of morality, righteousness, and kindness. But when the critical moment arrives, speak of interests. This is the way to protect yourself, while also genuinely caring for those who follow you. When gathering with familiar friends, hide your sharpness. Make yourself seem like an unassuming clay turtle. Share stories of your recent misfortunes to create a light, entertaining atmosphere. People will enjoy it. But the moment you start boasting, you've already lost. Why? Because people will envy you when someone close to them becomes better, even though they'll admire it when a stranger becomes rich. When meeting with groups centered on interests, you must fully display your value. Present yourself as a successful boss. If you want to make money, first pretend to be wealthy. This will make it easier to access resources. Strong people rarely want to associate with the weak. This is the essence of dark tactics, knowing when to pretend and when to hide. If you want to earn big money, you must step away from your circle of familiar friends and enter more circles of influence. Those who like to sit around with old friends and talk about the past are small-minded people. The strong surround themselves with those who talk about business, about opportunities, and about the future. If you want to succeed, surround yourself with 4 types of people. The wealthy, those with resources, those with intelligence, those with influence in speech. Put simply, avoid those who are weaker than you, and seek out those who are stronger. In the world, there are no eternal enemies and no eternal friends. Look at Pony Ma of Tencent and Jack Ma of Alibaba. They can still be good friends when needed. Work is work. People are people. Don't be childish by dragging up every grudge or slandering others endlessly. In the real game of life, there are no enemies forever, no friends forever. All resentments arise from a conflict of interests. When a new phase arrives and you are able to share benefits, those who were once your opponents can instantly become your allies. That is the game of the world. In the world of adults, there are just 8 words. When union lasts too long, it will split. When division lasts too long, it will unite again. And behind all of it is interest. In the battlefield of business and trade, there are no permanent friends, no permanent enemies, only interests and stakes. The friends you have today, they're friends because your interests align today. In the next stage, when those interests clash, they can instantly become your enemies. And at that moment, all the things you once shared with them may turn into weapons they use to attack you. When emotions and interests mix, someone will always get hurt. You may share feelings, but if you don't share resources, you can't stay together. In life, remember these 2 rules. With those you have emotional ties to, don't get involved in business interests. With those you share business interests with, don't get emotionally entangled. Between husband and wife, siblings, or relatives going into business together, the result is almost always failure. And if not outright failure, then daily arguments. Even in the workplace, when colleagues start calling each other brother while working together, if emotions get involved in business dealings, the ending is rarely good. So keep it clear. Feelings are feelings, interests are interests. The 2 are natural opposites. When starting a business, you must separate family from career. If you mix them, family conflicts will only grow. Your loved ones should be your strongest support, not your business partners. And the same applies to friends. Now, let's talk about the art of dark tactics in the workplace. Never deceive yourself into thinking you can have true friends in the office. When you first join a company, the older employees may try to bully you. At that point, you must learn to endure and quietly accumulate strength. When you have no power, whatever you do will be seen as wrong. When you have power, you won't need to say anything. Others will come to flatter you on their own. How people treat you is always based on your current strength, your cards, and your relationships. There's always a reason. The one who is bullied is always the weakest. If someone dares to bully you, it means they've already measured your strength and found it lacking. In such times, if fighting back will harm your long-term interests, you must be patient. Dignity can be regained later. Never rush to use resources for direct confrontation. Even the kindest, most soft-spoken new employee, if he is the boss's nephew, will never be bullied. This has nothing to do with a new employee's personality. Many people, when they're not strong enough and end up being bullied, mistakenly believe it's because others are too aggressive or because they themselves are too nice. But think about this. Why was Jack Ma, a man who was once gentle, skinny, and seemingly unassuming, never bullied? Because before anything else, he had a strong foundation and powerful cards in his hand. If you keep thinking only about your feelings and emotions, you're being naive. The smarter move is to quickly connect with people who hold positions of power or influence. Strengthen your own cards, so others have no choice but to take you seriously. This is what we call riding the tiger's back. And it works. Ask yourself this: if you often bully a new colleague, but one day you discover he's close friends with your boss, would you still dare to pick on him? So, how do you win over your boss's heart quickly? There are 3 key aspects: shared interests, aligned benefits, and knowing how to play the role. For example, if you want to get closer to someone, first figure out their personal interests. If they enjoy fishing, pretend you also like fishing. Buy a fishing rod, go with them, and talk endlessly about fishing. Soon enough, you'll bridge the gap between you. That's riding the tiger in action. Next, benefits must be in the right place. In the workplace, someone who only works hard is not as effective as someone who knows how to flatter. But even flattery is less powerful than having aligned interests with your leader. You must clearly understand what your leader needs most at the moment, and if you want to grow, everything you do should revolve around those needs. And finally, you must know how to act. Adapt to situations. Put your own pride aside and lift your leader's image as high as the sky. People love those who praise them. That's human nature. When choosing team members, leaders first pick the person they feel safest with, and only then look at skills. The foolish ones are those who work hard every day, but always look annoyed or love to challenge the boss. The result? The promotion always goes to someone else. Never underestimate those who are more successful than you. Anyone who has reached a certain position is never useless. If you think your boss is as dumb as a pig, chances are you're the real pig, and they're just a tiger pretending to be one. The wise know when to adapt. That's what makes someone truly exceptional. There's an old saying, the person who understands the times is the truly capable one. Compared to career achievements and wealth, your small sense of pride is worth very little. The essence of being seasoned in life is knowing when to appear weak and even a little foolish. Only then will others lower their guard against you, giving you the breathing space you need to survive. If you have no strong cards to play, yet your entire body bristles with thorns, you'll immediately become a target. People will find ways to provoke you, create trouble for you, and criticize you. That's why backstage politics, the art of subtle, ruthless maneuvering, is often at its most refined in historical palace dramas. You'll notice that the character who seems insignificant at the start, the one who gets bullied everywhere they go, often turns out to be the most ruthless and strategic by the end. Those who achieve great things usually follow 2 unshakable rules. Endure what others cannot endure. Use the ruthlessness that others dare not use. When you have strength and advantage, reveal your claws, but only at the right moment. Hide them well, then strike hard when the time is right. Never hesitate. Aim for the toughest opponent first, the one who constantly challenges you. Put your full force into subduing them until they have no choice but to yield. Once they do, everyone else will fall in line naturally. We see a romanticized version of this in martial arts stories, the noble hero facing off against the feared villain. After a fierce duel, the villain falls to the ground, his sword flying from his hand. The hero places a blade to the villain's neck, the tension so thick you could hear a bead of sweat hit the ground. The villain closes his eyes, tilts his head upward, and says, "If you want to kill me, kill me. No need for more words." The hero looks at him coldly, then lowers the sword. "Get out! Don't let me see you again." And just like that, the villain stumbles away, defeated but alive. We, the audience, are moved by the hero's sense of honor and restraint. The hero becomes our ideal, our symbol of courage and righteousness. But in reality, true heroes are rare throughout history. the awe we feel mostly comes from films and novels. In the real world, whether in politics or business, there are far more people who sway with the wind, who fear death, who abandon loyalty for profit, who bully the good but cower before the truly dangerous. If you observe the business world closely, you'll see them everywhere. The legendary victories of heroes may belong to the screen, but the quiet, cunning survival skills, those are very much alive today. And in novels, these stories stir something deep in the audience, because in reality, we rarely encounter true heroes. That's why we seek these legends in the realm of fiction. The harsh truth is, the most fascinating thing about reading martial arts novels is exactly this, because the martial world they portray is not the real world. In reality, imagine this: a so-called hero, after turning his back and walking away a few steps, is suddenly ambushed by the villain and badly wounded. It reminds us that when facing an enemy, ruthlessness and zero mercy are often necessary. Centuries ago, the Western military strategist Machiavelli shared a view similar to an old proverb: if you pull weeds but don't remove the roots, spring winds will make them grow again. He argued that small injuries to an opponent often provoke revenge more than decisive, overwhelming blows. When defeating an enemy, kindness or hesitation can be the most dangerous mistakes. History gives us examples like the Battle of Geisha, where Liu Bang emerged victorious and Xiang Yu committed suicide. Why? Because Xiang Yu had spared Liu Bang's life many times before. We must remember that lesson. Once you've decided to inflict harm, it must be complete, leaving no chance for retaliation. Before the liberation of China, Chairman Mao and his soldiers attended a performance of Farewell, My Concubine, and discussed the complete destruction of the Nationalist forces. After reflection, Mao emphasized the need to pursue fleeing enemies without mercy, rather than sparing them for the sake of temporary honor. And so, on the 21st of April, 1949, Mao and Commander-in-Chief Zhu De ordered a nationwide final offensive to wipe out the Nationalist forces entirely. This is the lesson history teaches. With an enemy, either do not strike at all, or, if you must, strike so decisively that their ability to retaliate is destroyed forever.